Welcome back to Get Up. Let's head back to the NFL. Off-season edition of Wide Receiver Watch. And Harry, where do you want to see Cooper Kupp play?
I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. And the reason why I say that, we're talking about a wide receiver that's a champion, number one. Won the Triple Crown not too long ago. Smart, can be an extension of the coaching staff on the football field. Very reliable, a quarterback's best friend. And I think Drake May, their young promising quarterback, could really use a guy of his caliber.
Ross, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I also like the Houston Texans as a Cooper Kupp destination. Obviously, the Stephon Diggs thing did not work out. He ended up injured. They need some help at that position. He seems like the right kind of guy to complement and offset Nico Collins, who's their number one wide receiver, as the Texans look to maximize C.J. Stroud's rookie contract window.
Now, Sam, what do you think?
I like the Carolina Panthers. Talk about all the reasons Harry mentioned. A quarterback-friendly receiver with a first-round pick, number one overall, Bryce Young. Also, Xavier Legette, a guy who can mentor Legette. Thielen may come back. For me, it just makes perfect sense for Carolina to be a good match for Cooper Kupp.
Okay. Sam, where would you like to see Debo Samuel end up this offseason?
I'd like to see him in black and gold, man. Black and yellow, black and yellow. Give him a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. Think about how physical he is. That's what the Steelers are and have been known for. Think about also, go back to guys like Hines Ward. This physical, tough football player in Pittsburgh makes so much sense. And I get it. George Pickens is there. Maybe that'll be another great opportunity for some maturity for Pickens as well. I think that Debo Samuel in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform is exactly what their offense needs.
Harry, I remember we were talking about some of that. Maybe the Steelers looking into Debo when he was wanting that new deal. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. You look at that offensive system with Sean Payton. He loves to get the football out quick and precisely. Bo Nix is a guy who did that in college and did it in his rookie season. You look at how they utilize Marvin Mims in the backfield as well, taking the top off the defense. If you add a Debo Samuel, now you can have him do a lot of that. You can go, 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers, 1 back, 1 tight end, or 0-1, which is 4 receivers and 1 tight end, and really still run the football effectively. So I like Debo Samuel in Denver.
Garage, what do you think?
I think the best thing for Debo Samuel, and I'm not sure it can happen, would be to find a way to stay in San Francisco, where Kyle Shanahan knows exactly how to use him, where he works brilliantly in tandem with Christian McCaffrey in that offense. Debo Samuel's a great player, but I'm not sure he's ever going to be able to do elsewhere what he was able to do in San Francisco with that coaching staff, that surrounding cast. A lot of work would have to be done on the contract. They just signed Brandon Ayuk and drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round, so I don't know how likely this is, but if there was a way for him to stay in San Francisco, that's the best play for him.
Okay, Graz, so where would you like to see Davante Adams land this offseason?
Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, I love that, Graz.
I thought you would.
Yes.
They need star power on that roster. Davante Adams is a star. He has a Taco Bell in his house. I don't know if anybody ever heard about that. No, they need other players that can make things happen when they have the ball in their hands. They're very limited in terms of playmakers right now. This is a veteran who knows everything he needs to do to help out that offense. Working opposite C.D. Lamb, I think it'd be a great pickup for the Cowboys.
It would be
I think they're going to do it.
Phenomenal, because you thought Brandon Cooks was going to be their number 2 guy. With Jalen Tolbert, who was their number 2 guy. So
BC, stop. You excited right now. We know Jerry Jones is not going to be all in. He's going to be all in. We know he's not going to pull those strings. It would be a good fit. Now, I also believe that the Los Angeles Chargers is a great fit. They have Lad McConkey, the young receiver who showed a lot of promise in his first year. Quentin Johnson, the guy they drafted in the first round, he's taken entirely too long to come around. Now you have a guy that can play the outside, can play the inside, is a veteran, and also help galvanize that wide receiver room. I like Davante Adams pairing up with Justin Herbert and also being with Lad McConkey.
Oh, you are a Debbie Downer. Sam, what do you think? What would best fit for Davante Adams?
About good fits. Y'all talking about good fits. Let's talk about the best fit. The best fit is the Washington Commanders. Think about this. How awesome was Jaden Daniels last season? You have Terry McLaurin. Now all of a sudden you add Davante Adams. This team goes from an NFC contender now to a Super Bowl contender with that kind of weapon. And so, yeah, LA is an okay fit, right? West Coast. No. Give me the Commanders and pair him up with Jaden Daniels. All of a sudden, excellence happens.
That turned around.
I'm just saying, you go to what I love to a team I can't stand.
Well, you talk about Debbie Downer. It's your turn now, BC.
You're right about that. Let's get to a wake-up call, and it comes from last night's NBA. Eagles were celebrating their Super Bowl victory on Friday in that parade, attracted more than 1 million folks. You saw Saquon Barkley, Offensive Player of the Year, first season there in Philly. Already, though, has his sights on running it back.
I said after after the game, watching our dynasty start now. Probably had a little bit of champagne and other stuff in my system at the time, but you really can't focus on that. You just got to enjoy the moment. It's hard to win one. You want to find a way how you can hold that Lombardi up again and do it all over again. So you take it in, you cherish it, you enjoy it, you appreciate the fans, but the dynasty thing, you can't really get caught up in that. The way you do that is by putting the work in.
Okay, at least he admitted he had some champagne in the system. Like Biggie used to say, when you had that Remy in the system. What do you think about the dynasty talk?
No, I mean, I think if you listen to what he said, I think he's saying exactly the right things, right? Like, you can't be thinking about, can we be a dynasty? All you can be thinking about is, let's put in the work so we're in the same position next year that we were just in and able to take advantage of it. Saquon Barkley's about all the right stuff. I mean, like his message is the one the Eagles need to embrace when they get back together this spring and this summer. The fact that we just won it isn't going to help us win it next year. Now, look, it's a team that's been in the Super Bowl 2 of the last 3 years. They know how to sort of navigate, a shorter offseason, all that kind of stuff. They're built to win. But, I think he recognizes that none of it happens without, an entire year's worth of hard work, just like the one they just had.
You talked a lot about being obsessed over that hard work. So, Harry, what must the Eagles be obsessed with if they want that long-term success of reaching the Super Bowl again and getting it?
The process. And I think the first thing for the Philadelphia Eagles going into 2025 is realizing that the way things were in 2024, it's not going to happen like that next season. You're going to get everyone's best shot. You're the champions. Everyone wants to dethrone you. But also, I think injuries play a part in this. Can you remain healthy as a football team? We've seen the San Francisco 49ers dismantled because of so many injuries this past season. And that's a team that went to NFC Championship game and went to Super Bowl after Super Bowl. So for them, it's understanding that, hey, just because we did it a certain way in 2024 was successful, it's not necessarily how it's going to be in 2025. You're going to have guys that's on this roster right now that's not going to be on the roster the following year. So once you understand that and have that mindset, I think you can start that quest to try to repeat.
Obviously, they had the biggest free agent signing last year when they went and got Saquon Barkley. Cindy, if you can bring up this list of the free agents, when you talk about the Eagles, they got 10 of 11 starters on offense coming back here. You look at some of the names here, Sweat on defense, Vaughn, those guys. Sam, who should the Eagles prioritize, in your opinion, bringing back if they want to run this thing back, so to speak?
It's quite literally the biggest guy on the screen, at least name-wise. It's Mekhi Becton, the offensive guard, moved from tackle, moved to guard, led this #1 rushing attack in the entire NFL. When Saquon Barkley ran behind Mekhi Becton, he averaged 7.1 yards per carry. And oh, by the way, nobody ran the ball more than the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe there was a stat out there that said they ran the ball. They had more rushing yards than passing yards this year. First time the team's done that since 1975. And so if you're going to prioritize anything, defense will be fine with Vic Fangio, but make sure you keep that offensive line intact and make sure to re-sign Mekhi Becton, the dominant all-pro right guard.
A first-round pick of the Jets, a guy who they gave up on. They thought he was a bust, injury-prone. Who do you think they ought to prioritize? So
I'm going to go with linebacker Zach Bond, and Himbo gave me this stat. He was the best linebacker last season, according to EPA, in coverage. And you see him right there with that interception in the playoff game, but also he was second versus the run and getting run stops. Zach Bond is a guy that they signed for the New Orleans Saints. You think he's just going to be a guy that's going to be on special teams. He worked hard. Vic Fangio had a great plan for him as well, an all-pro, and came up huge for the Philadelphia Eagles this past season.
Howie Roseman is probably the best when it comes to the draft.
He got both those guys, Bond and Becton, on the cheap. Right? So he could re-sign them both. They're going to need good money now, but he's going to have to find somebody else on the cheap at another position to make up for that. And then he's very good at it. Okay. You're absolutely right.
Let's switch